my God.
12 legendary black female R&B singers, voices that changed American music forever, and every single one of them survived something the industry never wanted you to know about. You've heard their songs, you've felt their pain in every note, but what you didn't know, Nadine, is just how literal that pain was. These women didn't just sing about heartbreak, they lived it in ways that should have destroyed them. And instead, they gave us some of the greatest music ever recorded. This is the story of survival, and it starts with number 12. Number 12, Mary Wells. Mary Wells was 17 years old when she walked into Motown Records, not to audition. She came to pitch a song she'd written for someone else. Berry Gordy heard her voice and signed her on the spot. By 1964, My Guy made her Motown's first major female star, number 1 on the pop charts, the sound of every jukebox in America. She was 21 years old and had the entire industry at her feet. But here's what the hit parade didn't show you. Wells signed her Motown contract as a minor, and when she turned 21, she discovered something devastating. Her contract was worth almost nothing. The royalties she thought she'd earned, pennies, the industry she'd helped build, it had been exploiting her from day one. She left Motown that same year, and nobody told her what would happen next. Other labels weren't interested in paying what she was worth. Her career stalled almost immediately. In her personal life, she married Cecil Womack. Some who knew them said the relationship was troubled from the start. By the 80s, Mary Wells was singing in small clubs. The woman who'd been Motown's first queen was fighting to be remembered at all. When she was diagnosed with laryngeal cancer in 1990, she didn't have health insurance. The industry she helped create had to pass a hat to pay her medical bills. She died in 1992. She was 49 years old, and if you've ever watched someone give everything to a system that gave nothing back, you know that's its own kind of abuse. Number 11, Betty Davis. Before there was Prince, before there was Rick James, there was Betty Davis. And the music industry did everything it could to make you forget her name. In 1968, Betty Mabry was a 23-year-old model and songwriter in New York. She was brilliant, she was fearless, and she caught the attention of jazz legend Miles Davis. They married that same year. Here's what happened inside that marriage. Miles was controlling, possessive. The relationship lasted barely a year. Betty later said it was suffocating. But even as she walked away, she left something behind that changed music forever. She introduced Miles to Jimi Hendrix, to Sly Stone, to the sound that would become jazz fusion. She helped reshape his entire direction and her own music. It was years ahead of its time. Raw, sexual, unapologetic. When I was sweet 16. Radio wouldn't touch it. The NAACP actually campaigned against her. They said she was too explicit, too dangerous. black woman that powerful, that free with her sexuality. The industry weren't ready.
I can't help it, I was born and raised on a that's right.
By 1979, Betty Davis had walked away from music entirely. She moved to Pittsburgh and disappeared for decades.
Think it's strange. I'm talking about TV.
The woman who'd helped create funk, who'd influenced everyone who came after her, nobody knew where she was. She survived, but the cost was becoming invisible. She passed away in 2022 at 77, and if you've never heard her music, you should fix that today.
Oh, that's right, I got a real bone. My great-grandma didn't like to...
Real talk. Only 9% of you watching this are actually subscribed. That hurts a little, not gonna lie. We spend hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life because this music deserves to be remembered. And you're here because you care about that too. So if these videos mean something to you, if you've ever said, damn, I didn't know that, or felt something while watching, just hit subscribe. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube to show this to more people who love this music like we do. Let's build this together. All right, back to the story. Number 10, Darlene Love. You've heard Darlene Love's voice 1,000 times. You probably thought it was someone else, and that's exactly what Phil Spector wanted. Baby, please come home. 1962. Darlene walked into Gold Star Studios in Los Angeles and recorded He's a Rebel. It went straight to number 1, but when the single came out, her name wasn't on it. Phil Spector released it under the Crystals, a group Darlene wasn't even part of. She went to him, confronted him directly. He told her the song would do better with the Crystals' name on it. So she recorded another one. He's sure the boy I love. Same thing happened, same stolen credit, same erasure. And it wasn't just about credit. Spector controlled when she could work, what she could record, who she could record with. When other producers wanted to work with her, he called them and threatened them. He wanted to own not just her voice, but her entire future. By the 80s, Darlene Love was cleaning houses to survive. The voice behind some of the biggest hits of the 60s, scrubbing other people's floors. She heard Christmas, Baby Please Come Home, playing on the radio while she was cleaning a bathroom. Her own song, and she was a maid. In 1993, she finally sued Phil Spector for unpaid royalties, and she won. $250,000, a fraction of what he'd stolen. But she got something more important. She got her name back. And in 2011, at 69 years old, she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as herself. Number 9, Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan didn't become Chaka Khan by accident. She became her by running away. She was born Yvette Marie Stevens in Chicago, 1953. By the time she was a teenager, her home life had become unbearable. She later revealed that her mother was violent, physically abusive. At 16 years old, Chaka made a choice. She left. She found the Black Panthers. She found music. She found a way to survive. And by 1973, she was the lead singer of Rufus, tearing up stages with a voice that sounded like nothing anyone had ever heard before. Tell me something good. hit number 3 in 1974, she was 20 years old and already a force of nature. But here's what the fame didn't fix. The trauma followed her. She struggled with drugs and alcohol for years. Multiple trips to rehab. She's been open about it. The pain she was running from as a teenager, it doesn't just disappear because you become famous. I'm Every Woman dropped in 1978. It became an anthem. And if you've ever had to become your own mother, your own protector, your own source of strength because nobody else would, you understand why that song hits different when you know the story behind it. Chaka Khan survived by reinventing herself over and over. 10 Grammy wins, decades of hits, and she's still here, still performing, still that same fierce girl who walked out of her mother's house at 16 and never looked back. Number 8, Patti LaBelle. Patti LaBelle was 12 years old when her parents' marriage finally ended. Her father had been unfaithful. Her mother had endured years of abuse. And then something else happened, something Patti wouldn't talk about publicly for decades. In her autobiography, she revealed she was molested by one of her mother's boyfriends. The savage beast inside, roaring till it cried. She was still a child. The memories she wrote were vague. Her mind's way of protecting her from what she knew had happened in that basement, but the trauma didn't stop there. In the early 1960s, Patti was backstage at the Brevoort Theater in Brooklyn. She was with the Bluebells then, still finding her footing, and someone came up behind her, started kissing her neck. She smelled liquor on his breath. It was Jackie Wilson, one of the biggest stars in music. He and another man dragged her into a room, started to assault her. Patti didn't have a weapon, but she had her voice. She screamed at the top of her lungs until they let her go. And then she ran. She never told anyone for years. Who would have believed her? Jackie Wilson was an icon. She was just a young girl trying to make it. So she buried it, and she kept singing. Lady Marmalade hit number 1 in 1975. Patti LaBelle became the godmother of soul. And if you've ever wondered where that power in her voice comes from, now you know. It comes from surviving things that should have silenced her forever. Number 7, Etta James. Come along, oh yeah, babe. Etta James was born to a 14-year-old mother who didn't want her. Her father, she never knew him. She spent her childhood being passed between foster homes, relatives, anyone who would take her. And then came Sarge. Oh, and my heart was... Sarge was one of her foster parents, and he would come home drunk, wake 5-year-old Etta in the middle of the night, and force her to sing for his friends. If she refused, he beat her with a razor strap. I found the thrill. Hey. She was a child, just standing in stained pajamas, performing for grown men under threat of violence. She later said that's why she always hated encores. Something about being forced to perform one more time, it never left her. By 21, Etta was addicted to heroin. The pain had to go somewhere, and it kept going for decades. Abusive relationships, predatory managers. Like a song. She wrote in her autobiography about a man she called the pimp who beat her so badly she needed stitches. She pressed charges. Nothing happened. At Last came out in 1960. That voice, that ache. You've heard it at 1,000 weddings, and you never knew where it came from.
We're in heaven.
She called her autobiography Rage to Survive because that's what it took. Pure rage.
In my lonely days.
She made a comeback in her 50s, won Grammy after Grammy, and she kept performing until Alzheimer's took her memory
That I could speak to.
in her final years. She died in 2012 at 73. The voice remained perfect until the end.
The spell was cast.
Number 6, Florence Ballard. Florence Ballard founded the Supremes. She picked the name herself, and then she watched them take everything from her. Summer of 1960. Florence was 17 years old. She left a sock hop at the Greystone Ballroom in Detroit and accepted a ride from someone she thought she recognized. A high school basketball player. He didn't take her home. He took her to an empty parking lot and he raped her at knife point. She never talked about it for weeks, just disappeared.
All by myself.
When she finally told Mary Wilson and Diana Ross what happened, Mary later wrote that Florence was never the same. The happy, sassy girl became cynical, fearful, distrustful, but she kept going.
And it hurt so bad. You came.
The Supremes signed with Motown in 1961. By 1964, they were the biggest group in America. Where did our love go? Baby love. Stop. In the name of love. Florence sang on every single one. Her voice was so powerful, engineers made her stand 17 feet from the microphone, and then Berry Gordy pushed her out. In 1967, he replaced her, gave her a settlement that her attorney later stole. By the early 70s, Florence Ballard, founder of the most successful girl group in history, was on welfare, living with her sister, caring for 3 daughters. When she finally started to get better, it was too late. She died of a blood clot in 1976. She was 32 years old. Jennifer Hudson won an Oscar playing a character inspired by her, and in her acceptance speech, she dedicated it to Florence Ballard, the woman who never got a chance. And stay with me, the stories don't get easier from here.
Baby, baby, where did our love go?
Number 5, Ronnie Spector.
So won't you say you love me?
In 1963, Ronnie Bennett walked into Phil Spector's studio and recorded Be My Baby.
I'll make you happy, baby. Just
It became one of the most influential songs in rock and roll history. Brian Wilson said it was the greatest record ever made, and then Ronnie married the man who produced it. That was the end of her freedom. Phil Spector's mansion became a prison, literal prison. He surrounded it with barbed wire, guard dogs, intercoms in every room. He confiscated her shoes so she couldn't run. For 7 years, Ronnie Spector was allowed to leave once a month for necessities. If she was gone 20 minutes too long, he sent a bodyguard. He forbade her from performing, from recording, from having a career. She said he would scream at her so violently she became mute for the last year of their marriage. She just stopped talking. In 1972, her mother helped her plan her escape. One night, Ronnie climbed out barefoot, no shoes, no belongings. She ran to a divorce attorney and begged for help. Phil threatened to have her killed if she didn't sign away her children and all future earnings. So she did. She left with $25,000, a used car, and her life. She rebuilt everything, remarried in 1982, had 2 sons, kept performing until her death in 2022, and when Phil Spector died in prison in 2021, convicted of murder, she said simply, "I was in prison, now he is." Some of y'all have escaped something, and you know exactly what that barefoot run felt like. Number 4, Mary J. Blige. Mary J. Blige didn't hide her pain. She put it on record and dared the world to listen. She was raised in the Schlobaum housing projects in Yonkers, New York. And from childhood, she experienced abuse that would shape everything that came after. She's spoken about being molested as a young girl. The trauma stayed with her for decades. What's the 411? Dropped in 1992. She was 21 years old and already carrying weight that would have crushed most people. And then she met Casey Haley from Jodeci. The relationship became one of the most talked about in R&B. What the public didn't see was the darkness inside it. Mary later described the relationship as abusive, volatile. She struggled with drugs and alcohol through the 90s.
Go ahead and rock your eyes, 'cause we're celebrating no more drama in our life.
My Life, her second album, was raw confession, depression, self-destruction, pain that wouldn't stay buried, but here's what happened next. She got clean, got out, and she didn't just survive, she became something else entirely. Mary J is in the spot tonight, and I'ma make you feel. 9 Grammy wins, Academy Award nominations. The queen of hip-hop soul who earned that title by bleeding on every record she made. If you've ever been through something you weren't sure you'd come back from, Mary J. Blige made the soundtrack for that journey, and she's still making it. We got y'all open, now you're floating, so you got to dance. Number 3, Tammi Terrell.
No matter how far, don't worry, baby, just call my name.
Tammi Terrell was 17 years old when she started dating James Brown. He was 29. She was touring as his backup singer. He lavished her with gifts, furs, jewelry, and then he beat her. Bobby Bennett, a member of the famous Flames, witnessed what happened one night in 1963. He said James Brown beat Tammi Terrell until she was bleeding. She left him because she didn't want to be beaten anymore. She escaped that, and then she fell in love with David Ruffin of The Temptations. Remember the day I set you free. I told you could. It happened again. Ruffin was abusive. Multiple witnesses at Motown described seeing him attack her. In 1967, their relationship ended when he hit her in the face with a motorcycle helmet. Through all of it, Tammi kept singing. Her duets with Marvin Gaye became legendary. Ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough.
enough, babe.
Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't nothing like the real thing. You're all I need to get by. Those songs sound like love. Pure, unconditional love. And she recorded them while surviving some of the worst abuse in the industry. October 14th, 1967, she collapsed into Marvin Gaye's arms on stage, brain tumor. She had 8 surgeries over the next 2.5 years. She died in March 1970. 24 years old, her mother banned everyone from Motown from the funeral except Marvin Gaye.
No matter how far, don't worry, baby. Just call my name.
She blamed the label for not protecting her daughter from the men who hurt her. Marvin never fully recovered, and neither did soul music.
Ain't nobody low in love. Ain't no
Number 2, Diana Ross.
and round and round, upside.
Diana Ross became the biggest female star in the world, but the cost of that rise is something the industry rarely discusses honestly.
Inside out and round.
Her relationship with Berry Gordy at Motown was complicated from the beginning. He was the most powerful man in black music. She was a teenager from the Detroit projects. The power imbalance was built into the foundation, and as Diana's star rose, so did his control over every aspect of her career and life.
And round, upside down, you turn me, you get.
He decided when the Supremes would perform, who would sing lead, when Diana would go solo, who she could date. Some have called their relationship mentorship. Others have called it something else entirely.
I'm aware that you're cheating when no one makes me feel like you do.
What we know is that Diana Ross survived the same industry that destroyed Florence Ballard. She navigated the same power dynamics, and she emerged on the other side as a legend.
Around, you turn me, I say to thee, respectfully.
But at what cost? She's spoken in interviews about the pressure, the isolation, the sense that her entire identity belonged to someone else. Ain't no mountain high enough solo version. I'm coming out, upside down.
But no one makes me feel like you do.
Every hit was another brick in a wall that she built around herself. A wall that kept the industry at a distance, that kept her protected, that kept her alive.
Moments with you. Respectfully, I say to thee.
Diana Ross is 80 years old, still performing, still surviving, and maybe that's the point.
And round, upside down.
She figured out how to last in an industry that chews up black women and spits them out forgotten, and she's still here.
Down. Boy, you turn me inside out.
Number 1, Tina Turner.
Opposites attract. It's physical.
There was really only one place this list could end. For 16 years, Tina Turner lived in what she later called a life of death.
Got to do with it. Who needs a heart?
Ike Turner beat her with shoes, with hangers, burned her with coffee, broke her jaw, broke her nose, raped her. She would perform with black eyes hidden under makeup, a broken rib, whatever he had done to her that day. July 1st, 1976, Dallas. They were about to start another tour. He beat her so badly on the way to the hotel that she made a decision. When he fell asleep, she put on sunglasses to hide her bruises. She had 36 cents in her pocket and a mobile gas card. Nothing else.
And it's only the thrill of boy meeting girl.
She walked out the door, crossed a highway, nearly got hit by a truck, and never went back.
Do with it. Who needs a heart when a heart can?
The divorce took years. She walked away with almost nothing. Ike kept the money, the rights, the name.
Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken?
She cleaned houses to pay rent, played small cabaret shows. The industry said she was finished. And then 1984, Private Dancer. It sold 20 million copies worldwide. What's Love Got to Do with It hit number 1. She won 3 Grammys that year. At 44 years old, Tina Turner became a bigger star than she had ever been with Ike. Not despite leaving him. Because of it, she moved to Switzerland, found real love, became a citizen of a country that felt safe.
I read it someplace. I've got cause to be.
And when people asked her about Ike, about the abuse, about everything she survived, she said she told as much as she could bear, but never the full story, because some things are too much. She passed away in May 2023, 83 years old. And if there's one thing her life proved, it's that survival isn't just living through something. It's building a life on the other side that's entirely your own, that no one can take from you, that belongs only to you. Tina Turner didn't just survive, she became immortal.